Hannah Sheriff was in labor, ready to meet her 5th child. But something was wrong.
I looked up at my nurse and I said, I'm not okay. I said, I feel like I'm gonna faint or pass out. The room just began narrowing.
Then the baby's heart rate dropped.
At that moment, it became, everybody jump on and let's go, we got a big time emergency.
The staff raced Hannah to the OR for an emergency C-section. Her husband, Jacob, was close behind.
Fear hadn't set in yet until I walked into the operating room and saw what was going on.
I opened up the uterus, there was just blood everywhere, everywhere.
And then I see him come out, and he doesn't look like, I mean, he's dead.
Limp, no heart rate, nothing.
Immediately, the team started CPR on the baby, a boy the couple had named Urias.
Everything within me wanted to reach up, go hold him, and tell him everything was gonna be okay.
I got laser focused on just prayer.
Jacob also texted their family to pray, as with each passing minute, Urias's chances for survival were slipping away.
After about 10 minutes, if you don't have a fetal heart rate, it's just a futile effort.
Although the critical 10-minute mark passed, the team kept trying. Finally, they got a pulse, but the baby had now been without oxygen or blood flow for 20 minutes.
It was just this, almost this squaring away with, okay, God, where are we? Where are you?
Unable to breathe on his own, Urias was intubated and prepped to be life-flighted to a hospital in Plano, Texas, 80 miles away. Hannah would have to stay behind to heal from her surgery and loss of blood.
She said, you go with him. You need to be with him.
By the time Urias arrived at Texas Health Presbyterian, he had started having seizures. Neonatologist Dr. Eduardo Perez explains Hannah had suffered a placental abruption.
He was born in dire straits, severely compromised because of the premature detachment of the placenta.
Placed in NICU, Urias was diagnosed with hypoxic ischemic encephalopathy, brain damage caused by a lack of oxygen and blood.
He had the severe form, the one that we consider that is at higher risk of having long-term delays in terms of development.
He most likely is going to have cerebral palsy. You could probably expect seizures most of his life. He may never be able to feed himself. He may never be able to walk. He may never be able to talk.
The best doctors could do was put him on a 72-hour cooling treatment to lower his body temperature to try to minimize the damage. Even then, there was little hope.
40% they don't make it because, you know, it's so severe and so devastating.
It's just one punch after another. I can't control anything, but I can trust God. I don't feel it like some emotional thing. It was a determination and a commitment. I'm gonna trust God.
On duty that night was Nurse Latricia Bell. A monitor told her the baby was still having seizures despite medications. Then, later that night, Urias opened his eyes.
He had been laying so still, and for him to open up his eyes, looking around, this was a big deal.
Quickly, she went to get Jacob. Seeing Urias's eyes for the first time, Jacob pleaded with God to heal his son.
It's like I could hear their voices again, what they're saying about him. And I just remembered, don't be afraid, believe only.
After Jacob finished praying and left, Nurse Bell says she and Urias weren't alone.
I felt such a warmth. Every hair on my body stood up. I knew that I was in the presence of God. He was right there at that moment. I looked at the monitors and there was no more seizures. That was the end of it.
The next day, doctors released Hannah to see her baby boy.
That was probably the hardest thing, is seeing him lay there. It's like I couldn't just reach down and grab him. And I felt like all control was just ripped out from underneath me.
That night, the couple asked their church and people on social media to pray.
If you're going to pray, pray this. If God's word says we speak and we believe, then I'm going to speak and I'm going to believe.
Over the next few days, Urias showed more signs of improvement, his EEG showing normal brain activity. By day 6, he was breathing on his own.
That was extremely reassuring. So that's a happy surprise.
Finally, Hannah held Urias for the first time. He was 1 week old.
All the emotions probably hit me the most in that moment because it's all I wanted, just to have him close and to tell him, like, we're gonna get through this. We've made it this far, Urias.
Here he is.
At 3 weeks old, Urias was cleared to go home. Over the next year, he hit all his developmental milestones. Then, at his 1-year checkup with the neurologist,
He said, I've only had a couple other cases where people have made a full recovery, and I'm just telling you, he's one of them.
today, Urias is still the healthy, energetic, happy little boy they prayed for.
You hear about miracles, but God let me see that one.
Even in moments where I don't feel him, like I can't see him, his faithfulness doesn't change.